Good morning. Hi, I'm back. Still here, still alive. Got a sunspot to play with. Ooh, I'm part cat. I do that. So, here is your update on the Borel Fire. It started almost a week ago, last Thursday. To get my notes. So here it is Wednesday already, and we've been through a lot. Man, the exposure on this thing, I keep losing my color. Put up with me, I got no choice. Okay, so to catch you up, the first video I put out on the fire was from Thursday, and that was just going outside, seeing a bunch of smoke and going, oh crap, what are we going to do? Running into town until we were sure it was safe to go home. Friday, which was the second video that didn't post till a couple days later, that was where we woke up in the morning and went, oh my gosh, that's really gross too, and eventually evacuated to the park. Hung out with some neighbors and ended up that night staying at the senior center, the shelter, because when we were leaving, they had the barricades up and we weren't supposed to go back. It wasn't an official super duper code 3 get out of there thing, but it was, prep and be ready to get, but they didn't want people going further up the hill, which is why our road was blocked off there. So that night, we spent the day at the park with our neighbor and met another neighbor and ended up with the older neighbor at the shelter. Saturday morning, right? Yep. Okay, here's where we left off. Saturday morning, woke up in the parking lot of the shelter around 6 a.m. Went inside and found all the old folks. Well, there's maybe half a dozen of them that had been there from overnight. Sitting around the table having coffee and yakking. And I found the neighbor right there, and so we got all things squared away, and by around 8 o'clock-ish, I think we were back at the house because the wind was keeping the smoke that away, so we really weren't in any danger and had no real clue how bad things were at the moment. So got back to the house. Oh, one thing, when I got up at the shelter and went in, one couple at that table, older couple, had to be in their 90s. They were from the town over the ridge, up a ways, Havilah. That town's pretty much gone. And it was so sad seeing those two, knowing that they probably didn't have a house to go back to. Who knows if they had anybody to help them out. They were probably lucky to get to the shelter. When we left, they were sitting at the bus stop, just forlorn looking, just at wit's end. That tore me up for the whole rest of the day. I mean, that just set the tone. But we got to go back to the house, took a nap, because they're just so wrung out from the day before. Woke up around 10:30, and here comes the girls out of the house going, time to bug out, pack up, bug out. We got the official alert, get the hell out of there now. So, good thing everything was still in my rig. I checked to see if anybody needed anything. The neighbor was squared away and ready to follow us. So I headed down to the park again, where we did our recon. Renee, who owns the house in Bodfish, she said the heck with the park. She set it up with her daughter and came straight to Fraser Park to stay with her daughter. It's not a big place. We were hoping to avoid that, but that's later. So Saturday, we spent quite a bit of the day at the park, again with the other neighbor who came and hung out with us because she knew the fun crowd would be there. And eventually we realized we were not going home. And the notifications were coming in about the senior center being closed because the town was closing down. Fast food joints, done. Fortunately, there was one place that was open on the way out so we could get something to eat because we were starving. We didn't have time to feed ourselves in the morning. It was just nap, up, and go. So we got, oh gosh, it was like mid-afternoon. I finally pointed out to Mary that, if she's going to go to a senior center, the next one is 2 hours away, and she was going to have to get hoofing to find another shelter. So she did some calling around, and she has a friend that was maybe 20 minutes down the road in Mountain Mesa. And she could stay there for the night. So we packed her up, and she was, by then, I mean, she's 90 for Pete's sake. She was wrung out over the adventures of the last few days. So I drove her in her car, and the other neighbor lady followed us. And we dropped her in the car off at the friend's place and got her all situated. And then the neighbor lady brought me back to the park in my rig. And then she took off for parts unknown. She was going to be going on vacation in a couple days anyway, so she just sped up her departure. So that leaves me and my buddy Teresa and her doggy Sam. What to do? Well, we couldn't stay at the park because that end of the lake was being evacuated along with us. So we decided I checked the availability of roads, because there's spot fires and little fires all over the place aside from the big fire. But we were able to get around the end of the lake and up to Kernville, because we knew there was a nice park there. There was shade. We could at least hang out, monitor the situation, and figure out what to do from there, because we didn't know. We had no clue. Neither of us had a penny to our name or any gas in our rigs. We couldn't go far. So we were just hanging out, hoping to heck we could, go home. We did the last couple of days, right? It didn't end up that way. We ended up getting a motel room. Lucky to get one, because all the firefighters in the area are taking up all the motel rooms for their rest breaks. But we got one for one night. Boy, that was hell. I can't wait to write the review for that place. Oh my God. But anyway, we had somewhere safe to stay. The next morning, got up. Okay, what are we going to do today? We weren't sure, but we couldn't stay there because they just had the one room for the one night. And then all of a sudden we noticed the air quality really started sucking. You could taste it. Bleh. Time to get the hell out of there. And our only other option was the evacuation area 2 hours down the road. And it was either that or come hang out at the kids' house here. And so we decided to come hang out with the kids at the kids' house, have the whole gang in one place at least. So we had Renee's credit card, thank God. Thank you, Renee. So she said, put gas in your tanks. We got gas in our tanks, we could make the trip, and we started driving. Got about 5.5 miles up those mountain roads, and Teresa's rig took a shit on her. Just overheating, super duper sluggish, like it was driving with the parking brake on when it wasn't. Going up them hills. So we pulled off in the next 2 turnouts and decided, okay, it's not going any further. So ditzing with the insurance company, no good there. So you got to take it, do it on your own. So we were lucky. A state patrolman pulled up to see how we were doing. And he made some, he knew of a place in town, and she called, and they have a special rate to store vehicles because we're evacuees rather than just schmoes with a dead van. So we had that towed away, and hopefully, up in that end of the lake, we've been monitoring, it's safe. So it might have been raided and looted, but it ain't burned up. So piled her and the dog and her essential stuff into my rig and just kept on going. Got here, and let's see. Yeah, so we are on Sunday now. Got here Sunday evening, late afternoon. It's a blessing to be here. Our hostesses are marvelous. They're just doing everything they can to make us comfortable. Not too comfortable. Heaven forbid we stay. But we do have a house to go back to. So right now, it is a waiting game. We're watching the apps, checking the various websites to get the true status on the fire. because that's a frustrating thing. This fire was not a CAL FIRE incident, so it wasn't on the CAL FIRE website, except for at the very beginning saying, hey, it's not our incident, we'll update you as they tell us. Nobody told them shit. It hasn't been updated in 6 days. So finding where the updates were coming out of with accurate information, that's been frustrating. Finally got a good app, though. These girls have had it, and I finally got it because other friends are saying get Watch Duty. Watch Duty. It's a fire app. Boy, the layers on that thing, I wish I'd have had that from day one, because there's cameras all over the place. And some of them are actually pointing at the fire zone, and some of them are pointing in the direction of our house. So we can see what's going on. And it's got all kinds of other information in there that's handy to have. Right now, we're waiting for air quality, because they've got that fire contained. Not 100%, it's like I think 22% right now. But around towns and structures, they're doing their damnedest, and I feel confident that the house is not going to burn up. But it's air quality. One of my apps, my weather app, the basic weather service crap, says the air quality in town is 35. Good air quality. Go for it. And the Watch Duty app, when you pull up the air quality layer, it says it's 170. I'm not stupid enough to try breathing that crap. Even with a respirator, I ain't going in there. So who do you believe, 35 or 170? Same location, way different info. But I was looking at one of those handy dandy cameras, and you can do a time lapse to see up to 6 hours worth of what was going on. And the smoke seems to be just down to the ground, bogged in. I'm not believing the 35. I'm believing the 170 and what I can see on those cameras. So it's going to maybe be a few more days, depending on the wind, because it's shifting, but ever so slightly. Right now it's a south. It's going to start going southeasterly over the next couple of days. But if that's not going to take the smoke away from us, which my brain, I can't even think of directions and where we are and smoke. I don't know if it's going to help or not. We might have to wait quite some time to go back there just for the ability to breathe. That would be a pooper. We want to get home. We want to make sure everything's okay. Nobody's robbed the joint. Because they're not keeping people out of the neighborhood. Once they got everybody evacuated, they said screw it and left. People are back in the hood now. They've been for days. Our 90-year-old, she didn't have anywhere else to go. She went back to her house. So we are hoping she is okay. And we know she hasn't burned up, but gosh, the air quality on 90-year-old lungs, that's a concern. So we're calling her and checking on her all the time. Sweet gal. But that's kind of where we're at right now. It has just been nothing but stress and adrenaline for the first 4 days. When we finally got here, it's taken me a few days just to everything. I mean, I've slept more than I have in months. My brain wasn't working, so that's why you had to wait so long for this video. I had to get semi-functional and be able to think and make notes, because my brain is still scrambled eggs up there. But I'm coming around, and I'm very hopeful that we will be able to go home soon. A few more days tops. There is supposed to be maybe a thunderstorm on Friday in the area. That might beat a lot of the crap out of the air and tamp down some of the fires. So we'll see if that helps. Maybe getting out of here by the weekend at the latest. I sure hope so. I mean, I love these gals. They're just awesome and so sweet to put us up. But, they have a life too, and guests are like fish. After 3 days, they start to stink. You want them gone. So I don't want to be here any longer than I have to. So that's the latest poop. Still in a holding pattern, waiting for air quality. That's where we're at. So wish me luck. Fingers crossed. Prayers if you throw them around. Appreciate those. To my new viewers, hi, welcome. Glad you could join us. It's not all gloom, doom, and fire. I also get weird. You've been warned. So I'm going to wrap this up, get it online. All the usual stuff, guys. No normal, no behaving, none of that crap. You get out there, you make life yours. You have fun, be awesome, be wonderful, and goofy, smear it around, suck other people into your little sphere of nuttitude. And let's make this a fabulous world, shall we? I'll be catching you guys down the road. Might be back at home, might still be here, might be, who knows. But I'll see you guys later. Shutterbug out.